Shadowflame is the big new magic of 10.1 and the real secret that Neltharion had hid all these years. However, it also might just be the most powerful magic in existence. Not because it is a combination of the Void and the Elementals, but because it is a combination of the Void and the Elementals of Azeroth, the most powerful world soul in existence. Even more interestingly, we were recently told that the soul of Azeroth may actually be elemental in nature. We have seen Azerite in Deathwing's laboratories, and Aberrus is suspiciously enough in a cave that could be a gateway to the world soul, meaning Neltharion could have extracted the powers from there. We know Shadowflame can raise undead, it has necromantic properties, it is almost certainly related to the spirit and therefore decay, and naturally with Galakron. We have seen the appearance of decay through the rotten walls on the Dragon Isles already. Even more interestingly, the primal incarnates might exactly be right after this magic because they know there is nothing more powerful than the world soul, and if they get it, we might be in for some trouble. So what even is the Shadowflame, and is it really the most powerful magic in existence? So before we get into the video, I want to show you guys the Bridge Wallet. As we know, I've been using it for over a few years, and I've been also using the key case as well for a few months, which fits perfectly. Now, the Bridge Wallet is like the perfect minimalist, like the super cool but really sleek wallet. You can fit up to 12 cards, there's cash on the side, and really it is just amazing. There's over 30 designs with burnt titanium and carbon fiber. So make sure to use my code Doron to get a 10% discount, and check out my link in the description below. As you're all aware, Shadowflame is the new magic, the real secret that we hid, and also what the incarnates seem to be after. I mean, some spoilers from 10.1 here, but Fyrek, the primal incarnate, actually bathes in the Shadowflame, and I think they're aware that this might be the key to actually fighting us. As you guys may have noticed from the cinematic, they definitely thought they would lose if they just attacked us outright, so they have a secret plan. So honestly, I think Blizzard is going to make Shadowflame into the most potent energy in the entire universe, or at least one of them, and not really because it is what Deathwing used, but because what the source of it was, and that could potentially be Azeroth, really the most potent power source in the entire Warcraft universe, which is why every single cosmological force just seems to swoop over our planet and wants to get it. Shadowflame has actually existed in WoW for quite a long time. I mean, we have most notably seen Neltharion wielding it and even animating undead constructs, and I'm pretty sure we now know where he got this from. There was a troll that regenerated his body through Shadowflame, there was some Scourge necromancer using it, so overall it has actually been pretty spread out. However, my theory is that all this is just a bastardized version of what Neltharion had really created in Aberrus. It's kind of like those old demon hunters that you guys might remember, especially all you guys that are in the more obscure lore. After Illidan became a demon hunter, some guys tried to recreate it with their own ritual, but they didn't really turn into Illidan. I mean, they weren't the demon hunters that you can play today, so definitely not nearly as powerful. In much the same way, I think the exact same thing occurred all those thousands of years on the Dragon Isles. We have been kind of following in the footsteps of Neltharion since the start of the Dragon fight, and we have been discovering that he wasn't just creating all sorts of things such as the Draktyr, but most importantly, he has been gathering knowledge, forbidden knowledge, in order to create all this stuff. We have seen a bunch of his laboratories, libraries, we have seen some old guy writing notes on the actual ordering of Azeroth and learning what really happened in the ancient past. Then, as you can see in Aberrus, there are a ton of discarded experiments, failed experiments, ones that work, ones that he managed to infuse, and as we had learned, he did manage to actually create Shadowflame. It is said that he is the originator of it, but my thoughts are that Neltharion may actually be the originator, but only on Azeroth. We have previously in the past seen imps and other users on other planets using Shadowflame. I think Neltharion managed to learn about this magic from forbidden knowledge, found ways to set it up and create it. It's pretty similar to, for example, how we have light wielders across different planets that are completely different, yet use the same energy. For example, the humans and the Draenei, they're completely different but essentially use the light. Or a bit more appropriate example would be finding like some ancient tomes and learning how to use spell magic, therefore introducing it on Azeroth. Now, before we get into further why this is so powerful and potentially the most powerful magic, let's see what Shadowflame even is. As I said, it existed for a long time, but I'm 100% certain that Blizzard had literally no idea what this was. I think they just combined two words that sound cool to make it sound even cooler, like like fire destruction. However, I don't think they really had any idea where they were going with this originally. Back in 2014, they said this was a combination of Fel, which could still be a thing, but honestly, I highly doubt this. What we are learning right now from the Zaralek Caverns and Aberrus is that Shadowflame is actually a combination of the Void and elemental magic. Neltharion literally learned about the old gods, used void powers as we had seen, but then he took on a bunch of elementals and sacrificed them, like he literally sacrificed them in order to combine those powers. This might also be why the primalists are not really such big fans of the aspects. Now, this magic is pretty evident what it is in appearance, which I gotta say looks super cool visually, purple mixed with fire. Overall, pretty straightforward when you look at it. What is really interesting though is that this magic is insanely potent, a lot more potent than it looks. It's not just a void bolt combined with a little bit of fire to give it the extra oomph, but it does a whole bunch of things. We have actually seen it having necromantic properties, reanimating actual undead. Now, we don't know whether this was done through Shadowflame, but it seems like Neltharion had trapped a black dragon and Demantia in her own body for thousands of years, more than likely through this power. It also has terrible destructive powers, very much akin to Fel. Furthermore, it seems very similar to that magic as well. If you look at some of the creations of the Draconid and the Draktyr from 10.1, a lot of them really resemble Scourge-like monstrosities. Of course, a lot of these are actual aspects of the Void, which is part of the Shadowflame, like the first part, and we know the Void has the ability to sort of raise undead. However, what I think is the main and the most important ingredient is the spirit or the decay element, and in turn, the actual world soul of Azeroth, which is exactly why Shadowflame may be the most powerful magic in all existence. Not because mixing elements with the Void is like this super special process, but because you're mixing Void with the elements of Azeroth. As all you guys may remember from the established lore, the elementals are the true native beings to every single planet. All of them are incredibly tied to the world souls that exist inside planets. Even from the new lore, we are actually learning that the world soul may be elemental in nature itself. In the Chronicle, it was confirmed that Azeroth herself consumed a ton of the spirit element on Azeroth, which is why the native elementals were so incredibly chaotic and dangerous and just constantly at war with each other. This is in stark contrast to Draenor, where there was a lot more spirit. The world soul didn't consume it, and the elementals were just super chill. Now, as we had learned in Dragonflight, there was a pretty significant correlation between spirit and decay. It might be one and the same, and decay, as we had learned from those rotting gnolls, is similar to undeath. It is also super similar to Galakrond, who is yet another relevant figure in the expansion that is called Dragonflight. We also know this decay is somehow tied to the old gods as well. Now, just think about this logically. Deathwing used old god powers and elements to combine this magic that also has these undead-like properties. I mean, it's really not that big of a stretch to connect the dots. However, most importantly why I'm making this video and this theory is because in Forbidden Reach, we had literally encountered Azerite. Right in Deathwing's laboratory, we had seen nodes of Azerite, which, as you may know, is the blood of the world soul. Even from the initial Dragonflight cinematic, there was a hint of Azerite presence on the Isles with the watercolor. The fact that the Titans built those very important big facilities here. Now let's go even a step further and figure out why did Neltharion originate Shadowflame and Aberrus in the caverns beneath the ground. Could this be a contact point to the soul of Azeroth, which is why the cave is so large and why there is so much elemental presence in this cave? Once again, elemental presence is tied to the world soul. My thoughts are that he took on old god powers and then combined the spirit, the elements, directly with the world soul of Azeroth, which is why he made the magic so potent. This is also the reason why the primal incarnates are seeking to use Shadowflame, not because they want to wield old god powers, but because they're elementals, they know how powerful the world soul is, and when that is combined with old god powers, it might be a power no one could possibly resist. Of course, we still don't know if Shadowflame really is tied to Azeroth yet. There isn't an official confirmation, but I do think we are leaning that way, especially since in the recent lore, we were told that the world soul is actually elemental in nature. So this could really be the secret and a really super special power. I mean, think about it logically. Why would Deathwing not just embrace the regular void as a lot of other beings had done across different time periods? He probably figured that Shadowflame is a lot more potent, unique to Azeroth's in its potency, and that it could be the key to whatever goal he had. Thank you for watching. Check out all the void hints from 10.1 by clicking on the screen, and check out Doronsmovies Academy for videos on real world history. See you next time.